Alright, hello everyone. Thanks for coming and watching this video. Today I'm going to be talking about a card, which isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but this is a really good one. Now, if you've got any old kind of vintage Roland digital gear or anything like a 626 drum machine, then this is really useful because it's actually 16 banks of the M256 card, or if you want to change the solder joint, then it's 512 times 8, which is only useful if you've got a JV1080, I think, and you really want only to have those 128 patch banks. Otherwise, if you've got a lot of gear like myself, like a D50, as well as a 626 and an R8 and an R8 Mark II and whatever, and all these different machines, then actually it's better on the 256. So I'm going to show you now what's different about this one to one that has been sold before a few years ago, which is no longer on sale or in production. This one is pretty streamlined in terms of chips. They're all very small. They're all right at the top here. They don't go any further than that point where that line of resistors are there and capacitors. And then on the other side, you've just got that one chip there too. So you can grab it pretty easily and pick it up. You don't have to worry about really touching any of that stuff or damaging it. And all the soldering on those chips is really good. It's really flush. There's no proud solder joints or anything. It looks superb, to be honest. Next up, there's a switch this time. Instead of the 4 switches that were there before, there were a couple here. There were, 4-pin, 4-throw switches, 2 of them. And you could get 16 banks out of that. Now this one has a rotary selector, and you can see just there's a number 0. And you just turn that round, and you can get to all your banks that way, which is, to me, I think that's more convenient. Now, that does kind of change the form factor of it, because then you've got a bit of an issue with this thing sticking out. But it doesn't get in the way, it doesn't cause any problems, and it fits in every machine that I've tried it on. So yeah, it's pretty good. There's a right protect switch there, which you will probably never use, but just in case you don't want to overwrite it, you can do that. Now, why I really like it is because I have so much Roland gear that I need to expand into having more patches available, like my D50 or my JV1080. And I also have stuff where I'd like to be able to back up the patches that I've written, like the R8M. I'd like to save my, I guess they're performance patches, onto the card. And I'd also like to be able to back up my 626 drum sequences. Add to that the D110 I've got, and I've already got a lot of need for this card. Now, what you might be thinking, I would hope not, is that it's only useful for one synth at once because of formatting, etc. And it isn't. It's like a SCSI to SD card. It operates as a separate drive each time, so you format each one. Right now we're on 0, so I can make that a D50 card, and that's fine. Then I can say have 0 to 3 or 4 for the D50. Then I could go around and have the JV1080 all the way up to there. And then I could go to the D110, for example. And then I could back up my patches on one card each for the R8, the R8M, and also the, the 626 sequences. So really what I've got is something that, first of all, removes a lot of cabling in my studio. I don't need MIDI out to do patch and SysX dumps. I don't have to think about plugging into the SysX reliable input and output of my sound card. MIDI splitters kind of mess up SysX, they don't really help. So really, it removes a lot of mess from the studio. It removes the need to navigate SysX and SysX dumps and saving them on my Mac. And it's kind of like this wireless cloud thing that I can now use in lots of different devices. So what I'm going to do is show you how to use it on the D50 and quickly the JV1080 and I think I'll show you the 626 as well. Okay, so first of all, when I put my card into the D50, it was the only one that didn't work. It goes in this way. You put the knob in at the top, which is an obvious choice, and then you can change your banks while it's in the synth, and that's fine, it won't cause any problems at all. The only thing that happens is when you press card, or even when you turn the synth on with the card in, it'll say illegal card like that there, and it's kind of a bit misleading because actually there's nothing wrong with the card, and what's really going on is you just need to format it. Don't go trying to clean your contacts like I did with contact cleaner. They're made of what seems to be brass, and I don't think they can really corrode. So actually what you've got to do is just do that, and then you can press data transfer up here. Now it'll give you this option, and now what will happen is if I press internal to card, it'll say illegal card again. So don't be deterred by this, be forceful and persistent with your quite angry synth and press enter. And then it'll send it, and then you've got a card formatted. And now if I press card, you'll see this I for internal changes to C for card, okay? And that is how you know you formatted the D50 card. All right, so first of all, apologies if there are any outside noises in this bit, because everyone's so flipping noisy in my neighbourhood. What I've done is moved it into this living room area because it should be a bit quieter, but you'll probably still hear a scooter, an ambulance, or someone smashing a pot or pan or something. But anyway, here we go. You need to first of all press utility here, okay? You can go down from this point. There's an arrow there. If you see, there's not one there, there's one there. So you press down, and then you get to card, okay? And now you're facing up as if you can go back up to that part of the menu. You press enter. Format, you can format it if you want, you can rename it, you can copy it, or you can swap it. I'm going to copy the contents to the card. Now it says you can do, as I said earlier on, you can have, if you want, a 512 card, but we're not going to do that. So it splits it into a half because it knows that it's only 256. So you press U-valve 1, or you can, is that it there? If I press turn the dial now, I get a 2. There you go. So we're going to do half 1, press enter, it's done it. Now I'm just going to turn this around here, and then I'm going to format 2. Oh, there you go, okay, and press enter. Complete, done, okay, and it's that simple. Okay, so next of all, here's the 626. Now the 626 needs you to format the card, and because it's kind of a weird old-fashioned way of doing it really, because it's an old-fashioned unit, I thought I'd show you how to do that. That's the best way I can light it because there is no backlight, so I hope you can see. Now what you've got to do is hold down shift and then press 14 bank. And that will give you an F there, which means it's in format mode. I hope you can see that. Then simpler after that, really, you just hold down clear and you press enter. And that will then format it, and it will say card 2, okay? Or bank 2 on the card. And that means that you formatted the card. So just to finish off where I started, really, the card can be used for various different synths, and you can swap it and change bank and put it in a different machine, and you can't corrupt it or do anything strange by taking it as a D50 card and putting it into a JV1080. The D50 will say it's not going to work, it'll just say illegal card. The JV1080 might show it as a weird character or something, but either way, when you put it back into the respective machine that the bank does apply to, you haven't corrupted it. You can only do that by overwriting it or actually writing, burning. You can't do it by just putting it in and pulling it out. So you don't need to worry about that. I think you'd have to be pretty far stretched to really mess it up. The other thing that I would say that I'm going to do is just keep a little book, or probably an Excel spreadsheet or something, maybe something on an iPad, and basically, just write down what each bank is doing, which synth it applies to. I really, really like the card. I really like the seller, actually. He's a really nice guy. He is someone who I've bought rack gear from in the past, and he's always been really, really reasonable, and local prices are not reasonable prices. So yeah, he's a nice guy, and you can buy from him with confidence. So yeah, check him out on Reverb. The link is in the description below. You can have a look there, and I hope it works out for you as much as it has for me. Cheers.